November 11th, a date that begins like any other, and ends like no other. What starts as a quiet morning in Salem soon turns into a day of confrontation, confessions, and ghosts from the past. Because in this town, peace never lasts, not when love, loss, and revenge are tangled so tightly together. And this time, it's Sammy Brady's return that sets it all in motion. The woman who burns every bridge, and somehow always finds a way back across it. Today, she walks into Salem once again, fierce, flawless, and utterly fearless. And the moment she does, everything changes. The quiet of the Salem Inn shatters as the glass doors swing open with a sudden gust of wind. And standing in the doorway, framed by the morning light, is a face Salem hasn't seen in months. Sammy Brady. Her heels click like thunder across the marble floor. Her coat, crisp and elegant, flares slightly behind her like a flag announcing war. She doesn't walk, she arrives. Her eyes scan the room, sharp and knowing, taking in every whisper, every stare. There's a hint of satisfaction in her smile, that same intoxicating mix of charm and danger that once left half of Salem in love with her and the other half terrified. She's been gone long enough for the town to breathe, and now, she's back to steal that breath away again. Whispers spread faster than wildfire. Sammy's home. No one knows the reason, but everyone feels it, something's about to shift. At the Brady Pub, the bell above the door jingles as she steps inside. Roman looks up, startled for only a second before his expression softens. Well, if it isn't my favorite troublemaker. Sammy flashes him that familiar grin, warm enough to melt hearts, sharp enough to cut through them. "Miss me, Dad?" she teases. But there's something different beneath her tone, a quiet confidence, a spark of something calculated. She's not just visiting family. She's reclaiming her position, her influence, her legacy, her power. When word reaches Marlena, she feels that familiar conflict tug at her heart. Relief that her daughter is safe, and dread of what this return could mean. Because when Sammy Brady comes home, chaos follows like a shadow. And then, with Salem's eyes watching and whispers growing, Sammy does what she does best, she makes a silent announcement. She lifts her hand. A dazzling diamond catches the afternoon light. No words, no explanation, just a flash of brilliance and a smirk that says talk among yourselves. A ring that screams commitment, and a mystery that screams trouble. Who's the man behind the diamond? Or, knowing Sammy, who's the victim? And as she walks out of the pub, her expression shifts. For a fraction of a second, the mask slips, revealing something almost wistful. Because if she's truly moved on, why do her eyes still search the horizon, for E.J. DiMera? Elsewhere in Salem, the atmosphere feels thick, like the city itself is holding its breath. Inside the Brady Pub, two old friends, Philip Kyriakis and Lucas Horton, sit across from each other, the steam from their coffee rising between them like ghosts of conversations past. There's no bravado here, no bravely worn masks. Just two men who have fought too many battles, both in love and legacy. Philip leans in, voice low but heavy. You ever feel like no matter how far you run, the past keeps dragging you back? Lucas gives a short laugh, though it doesn't reach his eyes. Every day. Except my past usually has your sister's name on it. The joke lands, but the tension remains. Philip's jaw tightens. It's the business, Lucas. Titan's in trouble again. Every time I think I can rebuild what my father left behind, I find another crack. Another secret. Another reason to wonder if I'll ever be free of that name. He pauses, staring into his cup as if it might hold the answers. Sometimes I think the Kyriakis curse never ends. Lucas smirks, not unkindly. Trust me, the Hortons have their own version. Ours just comes with more casseroles and fewer offshore accounts. For a moment, the two men share something rare in Salem, quiet understanding. But then, the bell rings again. And in walks the hurricane. Sammy Brady. Both men freeze. Philip's breath catches, his mind flashes back to the history they share, to what might have been, to what was never meant to be. Lucas just closes his eyes briefly, muttering, "Here we go again." Sammy walks toward them like she owns the place, her presence magnetic, her timing impeccable. "Boys," she says smoothly, flashing that ring again. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Lucas glares. "You might as well be one." Salem was just starting to recover. Philip stands slowly, his gaze lingering on her hand. "So it's true, you're engaged?" She shrugs with deliberate mystery. "Maybe, maybe not. Let's just say someone finally managed to keep up with me." It's a lie, or maybe a challenge. With Sammy, no one ever knows. As she leaves the table, both men exchange glances that speak volumes. Whatever brought Sammy home, it's not love, it's strategy. And Salem? It's about to become her playing field again. Across town, the sterile corridors of University Hospital pulse with tension. Machines beep. Footsteps echo. But all Jennifer Horton Devereaux can hear is the sound of her own heartbeat, fast, frantic, furious. She stands outside her grandson's hospital room, staring through the glass at the small figure on the bed. Thomas DiMera, pale, still, but alive. Too close. Far too close. Her hand trembles as she presses it against the doorframe, memories flooding in, losing Abigail, watching Chad spiral, trying to hold this family together piece by fragile piece. And now, this. When Chad appears, his expression is hollow, guilt carved deep into his features. He speaks softly, almost afraid to break the fragile quiet. "Jennifer, it was an accident. I should have been there sooner. I should have." "Stop," she cuts in, her voice sharp, shaking. "Do you even hear yourself? Should have? That's not good enough when it's a child's life, Chad." He takes a step closer, desperate. "I know I've made mistakes. But I love my son." "Then start acting like it," she snaps. Her eyes are wet but fierce. "You've already lost Abigail, Chad. Don't lose Thomas too." He's silent, pain twisting through every word he can't say. Jennifer inhales deeply, her next words slow, deliberate, and devastating. "Maybe it's time he came back to Boston with me. Somewhere stable. Somewhere safe. Somewhere away from here." Chad's head snaps up. "You can't mean that." But the look in her eyes says she does. Her voice softens just slightly, heartbreak laced through every syllable. "I mean that I can't watch another generation of this family fall apart under the DiMera curse. Not again. Not my grandson." Chad's voice cracks. "He's all I have left, Jennifer. Please, don't take him from me." But she's already turning away, her mind made up, or at least she wants to believe it is. Because under all that anger lies fear, the same fear every Horton knows too well. When you love a DiMera, pain always finds you. And as she walks down that long hospital hallway, tears in her eyes, one thing is certain, forgiveness won't come easy. Not for Chad, and maybe not for Jennifer either. Night has fallen over Salem. The DiMera mansion glows with a deceptive calm, chandeliers casting long shadows across marble floors, the air thick with the scent of smoke and secrets. E.J. DiMera sits alone by the fireplace, the flames painting gold across his face. In his hand, a glass of brandy swirls, his ritual, his armor, his illusion of control. But tonight, that control is slipping. The world above the DiMera name is cracking, Thomas's accident, the whispers about the lab, and now. Kat Green. The soft click of heels breaks the silence. Kat steps into the room, her expression brittle, her posture perfect, but her eyes, they tell another story. She's exhausted, hollowed out by guilt. Guilt over the accident that nearly cost a child his life. Guilt over her mother's fading mind, stolen piece by early onset dementia. EJ looks up, his tone gentler than usual. "Couldn't sleep?" Kat exhales a broken laugh. "Sleep stopped visiting me weeks ago." She moves toward the fire, the warmth brushing her face as she tries to steady her trembling hands. "Sometimes I think she doesn't even know me anymore," she whispers. My own mother looks right through me like I'm a stranger. EJ sets his glass down. He doesn't lecture. He doesn't scheme. For once, the ruthless Demera prince simply listens. And when he finally speaks, it isn't with arrogance, but empathy. Then you remind her, he says quietly. Every day. Until she remembers love. Because love is the last thing people forget. Their eyes meet, two souls haunted by family, bound by loss. A long silence stretches between them, heavy with things neither should feel. Then, slowly, their walls begin to fall. Kat sits beside him, close enough to feel the warmth of the fire, and of him. Her voice cracks. Do you ever get tired of pretending to be strong? EJ chuckles under his breath. Every day. But strength, it's the one lie people need me to keep telling. A tear slips down her cheek. Without thinking, EJ reaches up and brushes it away with his thumb. His touch lingers, too long to be innocent, too soft to be calculated. For one brief, dangerous heartbeat, they forget who they are, Demera and Green, enemies by circumstance, drawn together by pain. It's not a kiss. Not yet. But it's enough to change everything. Because in Salem, even compassion has consequences. And by the time the fire burns low, one truth becomes clear. Comfort can be far more dangerous than desire. While passion brews in one corner of Salem, another house sits in quiet reflection. The Horton house, warm, familiar, lined with memories. Photographs of generations stare from the mantel. Weddings, holidays, smiles that once lit this town. Maggie Horton sits with Julie Williams, two matriarchs who have seen it all, births, betrayals, and the endless turning of Salem's emotional wheel. A teapot steams between them as they sip in silence, the weight of history heavy but comforting. Julie chuckles softly, tracing her finger across an old picture. Can you believe we were that young once? Full of hope, full of rules we thought we'd never break. Maggie smiles wistfully. Back when love was simple, or at least we thought it was. Their laughter fades, replaced by a shared melancholy. Julie sighs. We've watched this town rise and fall. We've seen children make the same mistakes their parents did. And no matter how hard we try to warn them, they still follow their hearts straight into disaster. Maggie's eyes soften. Because love doesn't learn, Julie. It feels. And that's what makes it so dangerous, and so worth it. It's a rare moment of peace, the calm in the eye of Salem's storm. But even calm carries shadows. Maggie's phone buzzes against the table. She glances at the screen, and her expression changes instantly. The color drains from her face. Julie's voice sharpens. What is it? Maggie hesitates, forcing a shaky smile. Nothing, dear. Just the past reminding me it's not finished with us yet. She sets the phone down, unread message glowing faintly. A name flashing on the screen, one Salem hasn't heard in years. The air turns heavy. The clock ticks louder. And somewhere far off, in the distance, a familiar laugh echoes, faint, chilling, unmistakable. Sammy Brady. Her laughter drifts through the night like an omen, a sound that promises that peace, in this town, is never more than a temporary illusion. By the end of Tuesday's episode, Salem trembles under the weight of secrets and desires, every heart carrying a different kind of burden. Sammy Brady has returned, radiant, reckless, and dangerous as ever. Her engagement ring gleams like a weapon, daring anyone to question her motives. Jennifer Horton stands ready to fight Chad for custody of Thomas, her fury masking the unbearable fear of losing another piece of her family. EJ Demera has crossed an invisible line with Cat Green, a line he can't uncross. And though he won't admit it, guilt is already whispering his name. Philip Kyriakis and Lucas Horton have reopened old wounds, their shared confessions stirring ghosts that were never fully buried. And at the heart of it all, Maggie and Julie sit in the quiet shadows of their home, watching the next generation repeat the same tragedies they once lived through. Because in Salem, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Every return carries a price. Every confession hides a motive. And every moment of love comes with a shadow waiting to consume it. The past is awake again, restless, hungry, unstoppable. So brace yourself, Salem, because when Sammy Brady comes home, no one leaves unscathed.